well, society may be crumbling, but at least the parks are still open. Okay, so on a more serious note, all of this coronavirus stuff it's kind of affecting everybody. Yeah, this whole social distancing stuff for extroverts is a little bit tricky. You know, we want to socialize. That's what we do. We get energy from people, and so we don't have that. So all of us collectively are a little bit sad. Yeah, so like when all of this started, they were like, oh yeah, you know, probably less than 250 people shouldn't get together. And I was like, okay, that's fair. That's pretty good. I can handle that. My church doesn't really have more than 100 people, so we're good, right? So we go along, classes get canceled, we get an extra week of spring break, and then they were like, okay, CDC says that people in groups of more than 50 shouldn't get together. And I'm like, oh, that's not great. But I mean, like, hey, Chi Alpha's less than 50 people, so, you know, I've got that. My group of friends can still hang out and do stuff. And then the president issued a press release recommending that people shouldn't meet in groups of more than 10. And that's when things started to get a little hairy, because I have a pretty decent sized friend group, and they're like, yeah, stay in your houses as much as possible, you know, social distancing. It's been lonely. But I'm not here making the best of it. I'm filming a vlog, which I haven't done in probably a year. Haven't finished a video in quite a while, and so this is gonna be the next one that I finish. It's been great, this little spell of not having any homework or any schoolwork to do, because like I'm being inspired to be productive, be creative, and so I've been put a lot more photography. It's been really cool. It's a little bit cold out here, not like super bad, but just bad enough to be a little bit uncomfortable. And I know that's kind of what makes the difference in tough times, in seasons of like uncertainty, is making the most of what you've got. That's very vague. That's really vague. What I'm trying to say is that even though things are bad, it's not necessarily the end of the world, and I think there's a lot of good that can come from all of this stuff. Let me explain. So first of all, one of the good things I see coming out of this is that families are spending a lot more time together. I think that as just divisive as our society has been to family life, I think a lot of people can really benefit and really grow in their relationships with their family during this time. And on that note, I think it's kind of cool how this is affecting not only families, but also the family of God, because that's a family as well. You see, with churches closing down and doing live streams and stuff like that, it's forcing people to meet in smaller groups. And what that's doing is fostering an atmosphere of discipleship. It's people doing Bible studies in their homes and stuff like that, and that's what's really going to create some spiritual growth in America. It's really challenging the way the West does church, and I think that is groundbreaking. I think that's amazing that that's happening. Even though all of the bad stuff is going on, I think that's one of the really positive things we can take away from this, is experiencing what the family of God really should look like. Gotta swing by Walmart and pick up a few necessities. Plenty of bread. All of the mashed potatoes and a ton of the canned goods are gone. looks like most of the peanut butter is gone too. But not all of it. All of the toilet paper is gone. Seriously, what is it with the toilet paper? The cleaner, that's to be expected. I'm just kind of walking around Walmart just to see what's gone, what's in yeah, what people are like panic buying. It's interesting. Over here, because like eggs, that's where the eggs were. Butter is gone too. It's like all gone. Blows my mind. It's wild. And with that said, I'm not anti-church. I'm not that one of those people that's like, oh, we should never meet in big groups. All the church does is cause harm. The church has done a lot of amazing things and a lot of really good things. But I think that in the West, it's become a place where you show up once a week, put money in a bucket, and you're good. And it's very consumer-based, very non-committal, not at all what the body of Christ is supposed to be. And so, in regard to that, I think this whole experience is helping to break that down, helping to make us realize that, oh yeah, the body of Christ is a family. And when we operate like a family, we're demonstrating what Christ really wanted us to be. And so, in that regard, I think that this whole experience with being isolated and being forced to meet in smaller groups is really gonna help the church grow. It's really gonna set it apart.
And despise God has chosen the things which are not.
I went to the store, picked up some bread. It was good. It was kind of crowded. It was there's a lot of like random weird stuff gone. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. And you found most of the things you needed?
Oh yeah, I got some peanut butter, some bread, and then some snacks.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific.
What you cooking?
A soup. One of my homemade silly soups.
You're good at those.
I'm having fun with it.
The one who's wearing the cross of Christ and also.
Bye-bye.
That's my grandma. She's pretty cool. I had a Subway coupon that was expiring in a couple of days, so I went and got me a sandwich from there. And then I decided to come to campus because it's still somewhat of a nice day. And I like the atmosphere here. Another thing I think that's cool about the whole coronavirus outbreak and all of that and the effect it's had on the world is that the effects are similar no matter where you go around the world. I think that's kind of cool because a lot of times people can find it really difficult to relate to each other across cultural language barriers, etc., etc. But this is all kind of giving everybody one shared experience. And it's going to be cool being able to talk to like people from Central Asia or from Japan or from Brazil, going like, hey, where were you in March of 2020 when the coronavirus hit? And that'll automatically be like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But I think that's kind of like, I think that's really cool. It's like a conversation starter that applies no matter where you are in the world. And because of that, I'm kind of curious to see what missions will look like going forth from here, because like all of a sudden we now have a lot more common ground with everybody. We'll all be able to go, oh yeah, like what were you doing? Like I said, what were you doing during the coronavirus, and like how did that impact your life? And I think it's going to be interesting to see what comes as a result of that. Alright, well that's going to be it from me today. So I hope this video encouraged you. I hope it gave you some things to be grateful for, some things to be hopeful for. If this was encouraging, leave a like on the video and share it with somebody who is feeling really anxious about all of this stuff, who is pretty down and out. Share it with an extrovert who's feeling depressed, who's feeling lonely and isolated. And yeah, that's it for me. I can't cover it from there. It's just a little bit windy. Ugh.